My brother who runs a hotel called. Where's your wife? I said New York business trip. He said, no, she's at my Martha's Vineyard hotel with another man, spending your money. I'm a cybersecurity expert who tracks digital vulnerabilities. My cheating wife just became my biggest case. She thought she was smart, but forgot one thing. I know how to find everything. My name is Winston Vaughn. I'm 43 years old, and I run a cybersecurity consultancy for small businesses here in Boston. Nothing glamorous, but it pays well and keeps me sharp. I've always been the guy who notices patterns, spots vulnerabilities, finds the holes others miss. Ironic that I missed the biggest security breach of all, the one happening in my own marriage. It was a Thursday morning in October when everything changed. I was in my home office, troubleshooting a client's network issues, when my phone rang. The caller ID showed my brother's name, Marcus Vaughn. We weren't exactly close, Marcus and I. He'd always been the free spirit who chased dreams while I built stability. 5 years ago, he bought a struggling boutique hotel on Martha's Vineyard and turned it into one of those places where celebrities go to hide from cameras. Marcus calling me on a random Thursday was unusual enough to make me pause. Hey, Marcus, I answered, keeping one eye on my computer screen. What's going on? Winston. His voice sounded strange, hesitant. I need to ask you something, and I want you to stay calm. I stopped typing. Marcus had never been one for dramatic build-up. Where's your wife? He asked. The question caught me off guard. Amber? She's on a business trip in New York. Left yesterday morning for some marketing conference. What? There was a long pause on the other end. I could hear ocean waves in the background, which meant he was probably walking the grounds of his hotel. No, Winston, Marcus said slowly. She's not in New York. She's at my hotel. Right now. With another man. The words hit me like a physical blow. I sat back in my chair, staring at the computer screen without seeing it. What are you talking about? I managed to say. I'm looking at her through the lobby window right now. Marcus continued. She's sitting at the breakfast terrace with some guy who looks like he stepped out of a fitness magazine. They checked in yesterday, under the name Davidson. She used your credit card to pay for the ocean view suite. My hands went numb. The room felt like it was tilting. Are you absolutely certain it's her? I asked, though something in my gut already knew the answer. Winston, I've known Amber for 8 years. It's her. I waved, and she waved back like nothing was wrong. She has no idea. I know you think she's in New York. I stood up and walked to the window, looking out at the street where normal people were going about their normal Thursday mornings. My world had just shifted on its axis, but theirs continued unchanged. Don't let her know you called me, I said, my mind already shifting into the analytical mode that had served me well in crisis situations. Act normal. Don't give her any reason to suspect. You got it, Marcus replied. What are you going to do? I was quiet for a moment, watching a delivery truck navigate the narrow street below. When I spoke again, my voice was steady, controlled. I'm going to make a plan, I said. A very careful plan. The first thing I did after hanging up with Marcus was something I should have done months ago. I started digging into the digital evidence. When you work in cybersecurity, you learn that people leave electronic footprints everywhere. Every transaction, every email, every location ping tells a story. I just had to be willing to read it. I pulled up our joint bank account on my computer. There it was, plain as day. A charge for $1,200 to Vineyard Luxury Suites yesterday morning. The same morning Amber had kissed me goodbye and told me she was catching a flight to LaGuardia for her marketing conference. My hands were steady as I scrolled through the past month's transactions. There were charges I'd never noticed before, or rather, charges I trusted her explanations for. Dinner at Romano's, client meeting. Spa day at Serenity Springs, team building event. Even a jewelry purchase at Tiffany's that she'd claimed was for her sister's birthday. I opened a new spreadsheet and began documenting everything. Date, time, location, amount, and Amber's explanation versus what I now suspected was the truth. The pattern that emerged was damning. My phone rang. It was Marcus again. They just ordered champagne, he said without preamble. Bottle of Dom Perignon. Your card again. Keep watching, I told him. I need details on this guy. Physical description, behavior, anything that might help identify him. Already on it. I had Rebecca, the front desk, pull up their registration. Tyler Davidson from San Diego. Driving a rental BMW. Looks like a personal trainer or maybe a male model. I made notes while Marcus talked. Has Amber seen you yet? Not directly. I've been keeping my distance, but she knows I work here. If she spots me, I'll just be the friendly hotel owner checking on guests. After we hung up, I called my assistant Sarah and told her I'd be working from home the rest of the week. Then I made another call to my college roommate Dave, who now worked as a private investigator in Boston. Dave, I need a favor, I said when he picked up. The kind that stays between us. What's going on, Winston? I need to run a background check on someone. Tyler Davidson, San Diego. And I need it fast. Dave was quiet for a moment. He'd always been sharp, and I could practically hear him putting pieces together. Personal or professional? He asked. Personal. Very personal. I'll call you back in 2 hours. I spent those 2 hours doing what I do best, building a digital profile. By the time Dave called back, I had a timeline of Amber's deception going back 3 months. When my phone rang, I was ready. Your boy Tyler is a fitness influencer, Dave said. Makes money selling workout programs online. No criminal record, but there's something interesting. He's been posting for Martha's Vineyard on his Instagram for the past 2 days. #romantic getaway. I felt something cold settle in my stomach. Send me everything you found. Already in your email. Winston, whatever's going on, be smart about it. I hung up and stared at my computer screen. Tyler Davidson had just made this personal by broadcasting their affair to social media. That was his first mistake. His second mistake was choosing to betray a man who specialized in finding vulnerabilities and exploiting them. By Friday morning, I had enough evidence to bury Amber in court, but I wasn't done. When you're dealing with someone who's been lying to your face for months, you don't take half measures. You build an airtight case that leaves no room for manipulation or sob stories. Dave's background report on Tyler Davidson was illuminating. The guy was a walking red flag. 3 failed businesses, 2 previous relationships that ended with restraining orders, and a social media presence that screamed narcissist. He made his living selling fitness programs to lonely housewives and posting shirtless photos with motivational quotes. I called Marcus for an update. They're getting cozy by the pool, Marcus reported. She's feeding him strawberries. It's actually nauseating to watch. Any more charges on my card? Couples massage this afternoon. $500. She signed the receipt, Mrs. Davidson. That hit me like a punch to the gut. Not just the money, but the casual way she was erasing our marriage. Marcus, I need you to do something for me. Can you give me copies of everything she signed? Registration, receipts, anything with her signature. Consider it done. Rebecca owes me a favor. After hanging up, I made another call to Jennifer Walsh, the best divorce attorney in Boston. Her reputation was legendary, and her hourly rate reflected it. But when someone steals from you, you don't bargain hunt for legal representation. Ms. Walsh, this is Winston Vaughn. I need to schedule an emergency consultation. My wife is committing adultery and financial fraud, and I have documented proof. How soon can you be here? She asked. 1 hour. Jennifer's office was exactly what I expected. Expensive furniture, legal diplomas, and the kind of confidence that comes from never losing. She reviewed my evidence with the efficiency of a surgeon. This is excellent documentation, she said, flipping through my spreadsheet. Your wife has made several critical errors. Using joint funds for an adulterous relationship gives us grounds for financial misconduct. The false signatures could constitute fraud. What's my next move? We file for divorce immediately, citing adultery and financial abuse. We also freeze all joint accounts and request an emergency restraining order on marital assets. Your wife won't know what hit her. I signed a retainer agreement and walked out of her office feeling something I hadn't felt in months: control. Amber thought she was playing me for a fool, but she just walked into a trap set by someone who understood the rules better than she did. My phone buzzed with a text from Tyler's Instagram. Paradise with my goddess. The photo showed Amber in a bikini I'd bought her for our anniversary. I screenshot the image and added it to my evidence file. Keep posting, Tyler. You're building my case for me. Saturday morning, I was ready to spring the trap. Jennifer had worked through the night to prepare the paperwork, and by 9 a.m., I had everything I needed to destroy Amber's fantasy vacation and her claims to half my assets. The first move was surgical. I called our bank and reported fraudulent activity on our joint account. Technically, it wasn't fraud since Amber was an authorized user, but her use of our funds for an affair constituted financial abuse under Massachusetts law. The account was frozen within hours. Marcus called around noon, with perfect timing. They tried to pay for lunch, and the card got declined, he said, barely containing his laughter. Amber looked confused. Tyler looked annoyed. They're arguing by the pool right now. Beautiful. Phase 2 starts now. I'd spend the morning crafting something special, a care package that would arrive at their suite via hotel courier. Inside was a manila envelope containing printed copies of every transaction Amber had made, Tyler's background report showing his history of targeting married women, and a note written in my own handwriting. Enjoying your vacation? I know I am. W. Marcus, can you arrange for this to be delivered to their room in exactly 1 hour? With pleasure, brother. While I waited, I made one final call to Sarah in my office. Sarah, I need you to change all our company passwords and remove Amber's access to our business accounts. Effective immediately. Is everything okay, Mr. Vaughn? Everything's about to be perfect. The next hour crawled by like torture. I sat in my home office, staring at my phone, waiting for the explosion. When it came, it was worth the wait. Marcus called, breathless with excitement. Winston, you should have seen her face when she opened that envelope. She went white as a sheet. Tyler started yelling, asking what was in there. She tried to hide it, but he grabbed it and started reading. And Tyler stormed out. Didn't even pack his stuff. Just called an Uber and left her sitting there. She's been crying in the lobby for 20 minutes. I felt a cold satisfaction wash over me. Any chance she'll try to call me? She's dialing someone right now. Looks desperate. My phone rang 5 minutes later. Amber's name appeared on the screen. I let it go to voicemail, then listened to her message. Winston, please call me back. There's been a misunderstanding. I can explain everything. Tyler is just a friend from college. We ran into each other in Boston and decided to take a quick trip. I know how it looks, but it's not what you think. Please just call me. I deleted the message without a second thought. After 8 years of marriage, she was still lying. Some people never learn. But I was about to teach her a lesson she'd never forget. Amber stared at the envelope contents for a full minute without speaking. I watched her face cycle through confusion, shock, and finally, panic. When she looked up at me, her eyes were already filling with tears, the same manipulation tactic she'd used for 8 years whenever she got caught in a lie. Winston, this isn't what it looks like, she began, her voice shaking. Really? Because it looks like my wife of 8 years took a romantic vacation with another man using our joint credit card while telling me she was at a business conference. She set the papers down with trembling hands. Tyler is just a friend. We met at that networking event last month, and when he mentioned he was going to Martha's Vineyard. Stop. I held up my hand. I have surveillance footage of you kissing him by the pool. I have receipts showing you signed as Mrs. Davidson. I have his social media posts calling you his goddess. So please, spare me the innocent friendship story. Amber's composure finally shattered. Okay, yes, we got involved. But it just happened, Winston. I wasn't planning it. Things between us have been so distant lately. So you decided to solve our marriage problems by sleeping with a fitness influencer in Martha's Vineyard. You're never home. You were constantly. When was the last time you took me anywhere nice? I pulled out my phone and showed her a screenshot. This is from Tyler's Instagram yesterday. Can't wait to spend her husband's money on champagne tonight. You're not just cheating, Amber. You're being laughed at. Her face went white. He posted that, among other things. Did you know he's done this before? 2 other married women in the past year. It's his business model. Seduce lonely wives and live off their husband's money. Amber sank back into the couch, looking deflated. I thought he cared about me. He cared about my credit limit. The question now is what happens next. She looked up hopefully. Can we work through this? Marriage counseling, maybe. I sat down across from her, maintaining eye contact. Amber, you didn't make a mistake. You made hundreds of decisions. You planned this trip, booked the hotel, lied to my face, spent thousands of our dollars, and humiliated our marriage on social media. That's not a mistake. That's betrayal. Please, Winston. I'll do anything. You already did everything. To someone else. With our money. I stood up and walked to the window. The divorce papers are being filed tomorrow. You have 72 hours to find somewhere else to stay. You can't just throw me out. I turned back to face her. Actually, I can. This house is in my name only. Check the deed. For the first time since I'd known her, Amber had nothing to say. That evening, Amber tried every manipulation tactic in her playbook. She offered to quit her job and focus on our marriage. She promised to pay back every penny. She even suggested we could take a trip together to rebuild what we lost. I listened to it all with the detached interest of a scientist observing a lab experiment. Winston, we've been together for 8 years. Doesn't that mean anything to you? I was packing her belongings into boxes, methodically and efficiently. It meant everything to me. Past tense. I made a mistake. People make mistakes. People make mistakes. I agreed, folding one of her dresses. But you made choices. You chose to lie. You chose to betray me. You chose to spend our money on another man. Those weren't mistakes, Amber. They were decisions. She followed me around the bedroom, growing more desperate with each box I filled. What about forgiveness? What about second chances? I gave you 8 years of chances. You used them all up in Martha's Vineyard. My phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. She checked out this morning. Left without settling the resort charges for damages. Tyler's Instagram is now private. I showed Amber the message. Your boyfriend stuck you with the bill and disappeared. Even he doesn't want you now. That broke her. She sat on the bed and started sobbing. Real tears this time. Not the crocodile tears she'd been using all evening. I'm scared, Winston. I don't know what I'm going to do. You should have thought about that before you decided our marriage was worth less than a weekend with a fitness influencer. I continued packing while she cried. Every item I put in a box felt like reclaiming a piece of myself. The jewelry I bought her, the clothes we'd picked out together, the photos from trips we'd taken when she still pretended to love me. Where am I supposed to go? That's not my problem anymore, Amber. You made yourself homeless when you decided to play house with Tyler. By midnight, I had everything packed. 6 boxes and 2 suitcases. 8 years of marriage reduced to cargo. I loaded everything in her car while she watched from the doorway. This is really it, she asked as I handed her the last box. This was really at the moment you decided I wasn't enough for you. She got in her car and rolled down the window. I hope someday you can forgive me. I already have, I said. But forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting. And it doesn't mean letting you destroy what's left of my life. I watched her drive away, then went back inside and changed the locks. Tomorrow, I'd start rebuilding. Tonight, I'd sleep peacefully for the first time in months. 3 days after Amber moved out, she launched her counterattack. I should have expected it, but even I was surprised by how low she was willing to go. It started with social media posts painting herself as the victim of a controlling, emotionally abusive husband who monitored her every move. The posts were crafted carefully, just enough truth mixed with lies to seem believable. She claimed I'd isolated her from friends, controlled the finances, and refused to let her have any independence. What she didn't mention was that she'd used that independence to finance an affair. My phone started ringing with calls from mutual friends who'd seen her posts. Most were smart enough to ask for my side of the story, but a few had already made up their minds based on Amber's performance. Winston, what's going on? Asked Janet, Amber's former college roommate. Amber says you threw her out with no warning and froze her accounts. Janet, did Amber mention that she spent the last week in Martha's Vineyard with another man using our joint credit card? Silence on the other end. She said you were paranoid and controlling. I have bank statements, photos, and hotel receipts. She documented the entire affair on social media. Would you like me to send them to you? Maybe I should stay out of this. Smart woman. But Amber's social media campaign was just the opening move. Her real strategy became clear when Jennifer Walsh called me that afternoon. Winston, Amber's retained an attorney. Gloria Martinez. She specializes in high-conflict divorces and has a reputation for scorched-earth tactics. What's their angle? They're claiming financial abuse, emotional distress, and they want spousal support. They're also disputing the adultery claim, saying you have no proof of sexual contact. I laughed. They want proof. I have video of them kissing, receipts for couples massages, and hotel records showing they shared a bed for 4 nights. That's what I told them. But Martinez is good at creating reasonable doubt. She'll argue that sharing a room doesn't prove anything, that the massage could have been platonic, that the kiss was friendly. What's our response? We destroy her credibility. Every lie she's told, every manipulation tactic she's used, we document it all and present it systematically. By the time we're done, the judge won't believe her if she says the sky is blue. That evening, I did what I do best. I built a digital fortress. I compiled every text message Amber had sent during her business trip, cross-referenced them with her actual location data, and created a timeline that showed exactly when and how she'd lied. I also did something that would have horrified me a week earlier. I compiled a complete financial audit of our marriage. Every purchase, every bill, every investment. What I found was revealing. While I'd been building our nest egg, Amber had been steadily draining it for personal expenses she'd never mentioned. The $300 monthly gym membership, that was actually a spa package. The $500 work lunches, that were shopping sprees. The $200 client gifts, that were purchases for herself. Over 2 years, she diverted nearly $15,000 from our savings without my knowledge. By midnight, I had a 47-page document that told the complete story of Amber's deception. It wasn't just about Tyler Davidson anymore. It was about a pattern of lies, manipulation, and financial betrayal that went back years. Jennifer was right. We weren't just going to win this case. We were going to annihilate it. 2 weeks later, I sat in Jennifer's conference room watching Amber's lawyer try to salvage a case that was already lost. Gloria Martinez was everything Jennifer had warned me about. Sharp, aggressive, and willing to say anything to win. But even she couldn't overcome the weight of evidence we'd assembled. Your Honor, Martinez argued, my client admits to poor judgment, but there's no proof of actual adultery. Sharing a hotel room with a friend doesn't constitute grounds for divorce under Massachusetts law. Judge Hamilton, a no-nonsense woman in her 60s, looked unimpressed. Ms. Martinez, your client signed hotel receipts as Mrs. Davidson, used marital funds to purchase couples massage packages, and shared intimate photos on social media with another man. Are you seriously arguing this was platonic? The social media posts were misinterpreted. I have screenshots of Mr. Davidson's Instagram where he refers to Mrs. Vaughn as his sugar mama and brags about spending her husband's money. How do you misinterpret that? I watched Amber squirm in her chair. This was the first time she'd seen Tyler's real posts about her, and the humiliation was written all over her face. Jennifer stood smoothly. Your Honor, we also have evidence of systematic financial deception spanning 2 years. Mrs. Vaughn diverted over $15,000 from marital assets for personal use without her husband's knowledge. She handed the judge our financial audit. Page 23 shows a pattern of fraudulent charges disguised as business expenses. Page 31 documents how Mrs. Vaughn used a joint credit card to purchase jewelry for her paramour. Judge Hamilton flipped through the document, her expression growing darker with each page. Ms. Martinez, does your client dispute these financial records? Amber whispered something to her lawyer, who looked increasingly uncomfortable. Your Honor, we'd like to request a continuance to review. Denied. I've seen enough evidence to make my ruling. Judge Hamilton removed her glasses and fixed Amber with a stern look. Mrs. Vaughn, you've committed adultery, financial fraud, and perjury in this courtroom. Your request for spousal support is denied. All marital assets will be awarded to Mr. Vaughn, with the exception of your personal belongings and your vehicle. Your Honor, Martinez protested, that leaves my client with no financial resources. Then perhaps she should have considered that before committing adultery with marital funds. This court has no sympathy for spouses who betray their partners and then demand compensation for their betrayal. The gavel came down with finality. Amber was crying, but I felt nothing except relief. 8 years of marriage, over. 8 years of trust, betrayed. But 8 years of my life, finally free to be rebuilt on solid ground. Outside the courthouse, Amber approached me one last time. Winston, I hope you're happy. You've destroyed my life. I looked at her, really looked at her, for the first time in months. She looked smaller somehow, diminished by the weight of her own choices. Amber, I didn't destroy your life. You traded it for a weekend with a fitness influencer who posted about you like you were a joke. That was your choice, not mine. I walked away without looking back. Some bridges are worth burning. 6 months after the divorce was finalized, my cybersecurity business was thriving like never before. Word had spread about how I'd systematically documented and exposed Amber's deception, and suddenly every suspicious husband in Boston wanted to hire me. I'd gone from fixing network vulnerabilities to uncovering marital ones. Winston, line 2, call my new assistant, Rebecca. Another infidelity case. I'd moved my office to a sleek downtown location with 3 full-time investigators working under me. What started as personal revenge had evolved into a legitimate side business. Turns out, my skills in digital forensics were perfectly suited for matrimonial investigations. Marcus called during my lunch break. "How's the new empire, brother?" "Growing faster than I can handle. I've got cases backed up for 2 months. Any regrets about the career change?" I looked around my office, state-of-the-art computers, surveillance equipment, a wall covered with certificates of appreciation from grateful clients. None whatsoever. I'm helping people discover the truth. There's something satisfying about that. Speaking of truth, guess who tried to book a room at my hotel last week? Please tell me it wasn't Amber. Tyler Davidson. Apparently, he got out of jail and thought he could sweet-talk his way back into my good graces. I had security escort him off the property. That afternoon, I had a consultation with a potential client, Dr. Sarah Mitchell, an emergency room physician who suspected her husband was cheating. She was brilliant, direct, and completely unlike the desperate women who usually sought my services. "Dr. Mitchell, what makes you think your husband is unfaithful?" "He claims he's working late at his consulting firm, but his phone bills show calls to a number registered to a massage therapist named Crystal. The calls happen during business hours, last for extended periods, and he's never mentioned her name." I was impressed by her analytical approach. "Have you confronted him?" "I'm a surgeon, Mr. Vaughn. I don't operate without all the facts first." Smart approach. What do you want me to find? The truth. Whatever it is. As she left, I found myself thinking about her differently than other clients. Sarah wasn't broken or desperate. She was strong, independent, and seeking facts rather than validation. That evening, I started her case with unusual personal interest. Maybe it was because she reminded me of the man I'd become, someone who valued truth over comfortable lies, evidence over assumptions. For the first time since my marriage ended, I was curious about a woman who wasn't paying me to solve her problems, but was smart enough to seek professional help when she needed it. The investigation would take 2 weeks. Something told me those might be the most interesting 2 weeks I'd had in a long time. 2 weeks later, I sat across from Dr. Sarah Mitchell in my office, delivering news that would change her life. Her husband wasn't just cheating. He was embezzling money from his consulting firm to pay for his affair with Crystal, who turned out to be an escort operating under multiple aliases. "How extensive is the financial damage?" Sarah asked, reviewing my report with clinical detachment. "He's diverted approximately $75,000 from his company accounts over 8 months. If you file for divorce immediately, you can avoid being implicated in his financial crimes." Sarah closed the folder and looked directly at me. "Mr. Vaughn, you've saved my career and possibly my freedom. How can I repay you?" "My invoice covers the professional services," I said. "But if you're interested, I'd like to take you to dinner. Somewhere that's not connected to surveillance, divorce, or betrayal." She smiled, the first genuine smile I'd seen from her. "I like that very much." 6 months later, Sarah and I were planning our future together. Her divorce had been swift and decisive. Her husband was now serving 18 months for embezzlement, while she'd emerged with her reputation and assets intact. "You know what I love about you?" Sarah said as we walked through Boston Common on a crisp October evening. "My devastating good looks and charming personality. Your integrity. When you could have strung out my case for months to increase your bill, you solved it in 2 weeks. When you could have taken advantage of my vulnerability, you waited until I was emotionally stable to ask me out." I stopped walking and faced her. "Sarah, I learned something important from my marriage to Amber. Real love isn't about taking advantage of someone's weakness. It's about supporting their strength. Is that what this is? Real love." "It is for me." She reached in her purse and pulled out a small velvet box. "Then maybe it's time we made this official." I stared at the box in amazement. "Sarah, are you proposing to me?" "I'm a surgeon, Winston. When I see something worth saving, I don't wait for someone else to operate." The ring was perfect, a simple platinum band that matched the kind of straightforward honesty that defined our relationship. "Yes," I said, slipping it onto my finger. "Absolutely yes." That night, I called Marcus to share the news. "A doctor proposed to you? Winston, you've officially upgraded. In every possible way. Any word from Amber?" "She tried to friend me on Facebook last month. I blocked her immediately. Smart move. The past should stay in the past." As I hung up, I looked around the home Sarah and I had chosen together, a place where trust was assumed, not investigated, where love was demonstrated daily, not just promised. Amber's betrayal had taught me to value what I had. Sarah's love was teaching me to build something better. Some stories end with revenge. The best ones end with redemption, growth, and the wisdom to choose better the second time around. My code was finally complete.